watching Business Trends Today exclusively on ASBN.
Retaining top talent has become one of the biggest competitive advantages a business can have. With hiring costs continuing to rise, understanding why great employees stay or leave has never been more important than it is right now. Joining us today to discuss what leaders can do to build stronger, more loyal teams is David Alemian, who is the keynote speaker, creator of Alemian Retention System, and author of Talent Retention: How to Attract and Retain Highly Skilled Professionals, which is what we all want. So David, thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
And thank you for having me.
Sure. So you often say that people stay where their future is strongest. What does that mean, and why is it such an important mindset for today's business leaders?
I'm glad you asked. I call this the David Alemian principle.
Okay.
People stay where their future is strongest. You know, we're wired to think of the future ever since we were little kids, and people said, what do you want to be when you grow up? Really? Then where do you want to go to school?
Sure.
What are you going to study? What are you going to do for a career? What house are you going to buy? Where are you going to live? Who are you going to marry?
That's right.
All of these things, every big decision is future-based.
Yeah.
So when people leave a company or stay with a company, it's a decision to either stay or a decision to leave.
Yeah.
Now, your best employees or an employer's best employees, they're being approached. They're not necessarily telling you they're being approached,
That's
but
right.
they are. Why?
That's right.
Because pretty much almost everybody who wants a job already has one. So the only thing you can do if you have seats to fill, you need bodies, is go find them from somebody else.
That's right.
So when they get these offers, and the employee could be perfectly happy where they are, but they'll consider it. And it boils down to one decision. If I stay here, what will my future be like?
Yeah.
If I go over there, what will my future be like? The stronger future always wins.
Yeah.
That's why I say people stay where their future is strongest.
That's right.
And that's
right.
what that means.
Yeah. And even if the prospect of the future, for that candidate is more perception than it is reality, because they're not feeling great where they're at, that will make the move, right?
It's what they believe. It's
Right.
their perception.
Right.
So I help employers build stronger futures for their employees so that when that offer comes,
Yeah.
they decide to stay.
Yeah. Great point. Great point. Many business owners think of turnover as simply a hiring issue, but you say it's one of the biggest hidden costs an organization faces. What are they missing?
Turnover is the biggest hidden cost that an employer has. It can cost more than double the salary to replace someone. And to make matters worse, most of that cost is not deductible. Sure, you can deduct the cost of an ad to keep somebody or for a headhunter, but how do you deduct lost production? If you've got a superstar salesperson and he walks out the door, how do you deduct lost sales?
That's right.
How do you deduct employee morale?
Yeah.
All of these things contribute to the cost of turnover.
That's right.
And then you bring in a new candidate and you don't necessarily know whether or not they're going to work out.
That's right.
So they might bring them in and you're paying them, and then 6 months later it's like, not the right person.
No.
All of a sudden you just blew 6 months worth of salary on top of everything else.
That's true.
So yes, turnover is the biggest hidden cost, and it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
It's going to keep getting worse.
Yeah.
There's really no end in sight. And here's why. It's a matter of the size of the generations. The baby boomer generation, which I'm a member of, was the biggest generation. The subsequent generations, the millennials, Generation X, Y, and Z, were smaller in size. And out of that smaller size, a smaller percentage of people actually have skills. So it becomes a double whammy. So as bad as it is right now,
Yeah.
it's going to get worse.
It's going to get worse.
So
Yeah.
what do you do? It's not like we can turn on a machine, push a button, pull a lever, and manufacture more people with skills overnight.
we all wish we
just
could.
can't do that.
Right.
So we have to do with the talented and skilled people that we have.
Yeah.
Your talented employees are the most valuable asset that a company has.
That's right.
Now, what employers need to learn is, to protect themselves from loss. For example, they have auto insurance, they have homeowners insurance, they have business liability insurance. They need to put something in place that ensures that their best people will stay.
Yeah. That's right. It's a very good point. Beyond compensation that we often look at, and so do our associates and employees, what are some of the biggest reasons that high-performing employees decide to leave an organization?
Their future.
Their future?
They're getting offers, and they're considering those offers, and as I mentioned before, they're saying, if I go over there, my future's better.
Yeah.
I'll be able to do more things for my family, more things for my spouse, and so on. And, when I talk about future, I'm not just talking about their working years. I'm talking about beyond the working years. There are more people working well into retirement these days than ever before.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
And that's fine. If you choose to work well into your retirement, you love what you do, you're having fun, you're healthy, all these things.
Sure.
But when you're forced to work into your retirement years because you can't afford to retire,
right,
that's a whole different conversation. Most Americans are not prepared for retirement.
That's right.
Saving for retirement is the biggest financial challenge that Americans face.
Yeah.
And we're living longer, which means we have to fund a longer time. And, that's a good thing to live longer, but it's nice to live longer and be comfortable.
That's right. That's right. For sure. For sure. For business owners out there that may not have the resources of a larger company, an IBM or a Nike or what have you, what are some of the practical steps that leaders can take to improve retention starting today?
Great question. Let's say you've got a company. It's the company owner, small business. Maybe he's got 3 employees. If he loses one person, he just lost a third of his workforce.
Yeah, good point. Right.
Right. And sometimes, they want to pay him more money.
Yeah.
That's a cost, right? And that's a cost that doesn't go away. But here's what happens. It becomes the new normal for that employee. And sometimes the employer is shooting themselves in the foot by paying them more money.
Yeah.
Why?
That's right.
Because somebody else will have deeper pockets, need people, be more desperate for help, and lure them away because nobody expects anybody to make a lateral move.
Right.
So they're going to expect this. So they're going to take that higher salary that they're getting and leverage it into a higher salary somewhere else. So here's what they can do. They can create something that will strengthen that employee's future and make it contingent on them staying with the company. That way, if they leave, they lose that benefit. That becomes huge because people will do more for what they have in hand than something that they might get somewhere else. Because remember, if they leave and go somewhere else, they don't necessarily know if things will work out at that other company or that other organization.
Sure. So
right?
give me an example of that.
An example of doing something that there's a number of things they can do.
Okay.
For example, there can be continuity within the company. So in other words, when the owner's gonna retire, maybe this person will take over. That could be a pretty good future.
That's a big one. Yeah, that's a big motivator.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Then there are also, I spent 31 years in the retirement planning business. And there are much better things than the 401k for saving for retirement. As a matter of fact, the 401k does nothing about retention. Why? Because it's portable. You can take it somewhere else.
Yeah, that's not even right.
Right. I help employers design supplemental employee retirement plans.
Okay.
That the employer funds 100%, cost the employee zero.
Okay.
In exchange, the employee agrees to stay with the company.
Yeah.
Could be for 10 years, could be till retirement, could be anything in between.
Yeah.
And there's a written agreement between the employee and the employer.
Okay.
If they leave, they forfeit the benefit and the investment that the employer made in that employee stays with the company.
Right.
So now it's not a cost. It is literally an investment and a growing and compounding asset on the company's books. So turnover, as we said before, is more than double the salary.
Sure.
So they already, and the average U.S. worker changes jobs every 4.1 years.
Okay. Wow.
Which,
That's changed. Yeah.
Which means they already have a turnover cost.
That's right.
So I show them how to take a portion of that cost and turn it into a growing and compounding asset that ties that employee to the company. And here's the cool part. There's no limit to how big we can make this.
Yeah.
Which means that employee could end up with a lifetime income that is greater than their working year's income. You know, for somebody who's a little bit concerned about retirement, that's a tough thing to say no to.
That's right.
And if you already have it, it's nearly impossible for them to walk away from. Not only will they not quit, their spouse won't let them quit. They'll say, hang in there, honey. That's our future right there.
Yep. No question. You know,
those are some of the things.
I've spoken to some business owners that say, well, what we do is we set up a year-end bonus structure, and they've got to be working for us, you know, at that time when that's going to be paid out in December or the following January. But I've also spoken to those same owners that they say, yeah, and then there's a mass exodus, you know, in February because the people have stayed, they've got their bonus, they knew they had to stay through that period of time, and you're almost rewarding them to leave, right? So that's not long-term enough.
No, you're absolutely correct. What I focus on is long-term retention. Yeah. You know, why? Because the company's there for the long term.
Yeah.
So don't you want your best people? And the way I structure it, it's not like a 401k or a pension or one of those things that you give it to one, you got to give it to everybody.
Right. Just
give it to your superstars. Let me share one thing for your viewers. How do you build a world-class company? And I'll give you a quick little tale of two hospitals. It's both same size, same number of employees, same city, same everything. One difference. One is a world-class organization. People come from all over the world to go to that hospital. Mm-hmm. The other one, you skin your knee. You don't want to go anywhere near that place. What's the difference?
Right.
It's the people who work there.
That's right.
So what any employer can do is they give this to their superstars, the people they absolutely don't want to lose.
Yeah.
The others, I don't say fire them, but they'll leave and fall by the wayside because they would anyway.
Sure.
Then you use this tool to draw in the best of the best so that everything else being equal, competitive, pay, benefits, all those other things,
right.
And this thing on top, they will win the battle for top talent every single time, and then they'll keep that talent. Time-wise, if they did this in about 4 or 5 years, they'd have a company that has nothing but superstars.
Yeah.
And that's how you can build a world-class company.
I love it.
They lose so much when good people leave.
Oh, it's huge.
Consumers have choices.
Yeah, no question about it.
Consumers have, they want to go to the place
with Generation Z and millennials, there's not a whole lot of loyalty going on there for the companies that they're working for. Not like when you and I were growing up and your father or you might be staying at a company for 20, 30, 40 years to get that gold watch and to get that retirement account and or that pension. That no longer exists out there. Now people are very open to making changes in their career at the drop of a hat, right?
You're absolutely correct. Even the pension, they've killed it.
Yeah.
Why? Because after 4 or 5 years, mostly in general 4 years, you're fully vested. Now you can go anywhere you want, take a pension, go to another organization, get another pension, or start a 401k.
That's right.
There's nothing holding you to the organization.
Yeah.
My system, keeps them there.
Yeah. David Alemian, keynote speaker, creator of the Alemian Retention System and author of Talent Retention, How to Attract and Retain Highly Skilled Professionals. We're showing a copy of the book right here, right underneath the video that you're watching. You can get your copy of the book, which we highly recommend that you do. So thank you, David, so much for joining us on the show today. Very much appreciate it. Love to do a follow-up with you because this is an ongoing, or a topic, I should say, that has got a lot of legs to it, a lot of concern that employers have in keeping good people, for sure.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Great. Thanks.
Thanks for watching Business Trends Today exclusively on ASBN.